What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Dungeon Maker video. We're going to be looking at the top 10 betrayals in this game, followed by 6 hours of ASMR, in which I have delightfully called tapping a bottle with my fingers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go and give you a preview right now. What's going on, everyone? It has been a very long week. Sometimes things start melting together and I don't know who I am or what I'm doing. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're here for Dungeon Maker build 10076 and all of the content that was added in the latest version of the game. As a matter of fact, by the time I'm done with this video, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be like build 10080. But that's not important. What is important is that if you're new to the game, feel free to check out the content that I already made for it. It's for an older version, yes. However, all the information is still relative even to the new update. It's pretty much covering the basics and strategies all the way up to day 340. I will be working on another guide down the road for day 500, trial difficulty level 10. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then that's why you're excited to watch this video, because you're trying to find out all of the new stuff that was added to the game since I last talked about it in build 10062. We pretty much got an expansion pack, a DLC if you want to go and call it, for Dungeon Maker, because there's so much stuff to cover. It kind of makes your head spin. You kind of get overwhelmed. However, that's not here or there. If you're one of those people that follow the YouTube analytics trend in which you spend 42 seconds watching any video, go ahead and do me a favor right now, okay? Just go ahead and click on the Abyss shop right there. There you go. And it's going to bring you to this screen. You should be familiar with it if you're a returning player. But if you are not, go ahead and do that for me. And in the center, you're going to notice a big fat Awakening pack. And this contains all of the updates to the game, and you don't have to sit here and watch this entire video. You can go on about your day. Love you anyway. Thanks for stopping by. Click on the magnifying glass, and it's going to show you all the new content. All right? Every single thing that was added in the expansion pack, pretty much, except for UI changes, is going to be inside of this little screen. Okay, so go ahead and do that for me. There you go. Have fun. I'll see you guys later. For everyone else, stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and go over in detail all of the content added since build 10062, since I last started. So let's go ahead and begin. Alright guys, let's go ahead and begin with our lovely Dungeon Lords. All 7 of them have received a new Awakening. And what Awakening does is it allows you to break past the level 10 cap that was originally placed for them. Now they can go up to 15. And alongside these new 5 levels, you'll get a new ability added to your arsenal per Dungeon Lord. I will not go over the specifics of each Awakening skill because you're more than welcome to check that out yourself. And frankly speaking, I have not unlocked them for all of the Dungeon Lords because it does require a bit of grinding. So it's really kind of endgame content for endgame difficulty. Just go and keep that in mind. You should be able to beat the first 340 days using the default Dungeon Lords. They don't need to be awoken, I should say. I was about to say awakened, which wouldn't make sense. But what does make sense is that I'm going to go through all of the new Awakening skins because I have unlocked all of them. And I also want to let you know that the Great Nyan Pass over at TouchArcade forums, in which I've put a link in the YouTube description, has teased to us that the developer is working on a 8th Dungeon Lord. So that is good news for all of us. We are going to have a new friend to our original 7 roster. Now, unfortunately, Awakening has to be unlocked in the Abyss shop, as you can see right here, even though I do have all of our lovely girls available for sightseeing right now. I did have to unlock them in the Abyss shop, okay? So they are not given to you. You will have to unlock them similar to how you got them in the first place. I also want to mention that if you, for whatever reason, do not like the new Awakening skins, you are not forced to use them. On the Dungeon Lord selection screen, you'll notice a back and forward arrow. Just go ahead and click on that arrow, and it will allow you to revert back to the original skin, if that is what you like. And you can also go ahead and preview additional skins that are already made for the Dungeon Lord, but they have yet to be unlocked by the developer. So technically speaking, these are already in the game, but they just haven't been unlocked yet. So the developer is working on a way for us to grind for them. Okay, that's the long and the short of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to actual gameplay changes as well as UI changes. All right, guys, it's time to get down to business and talk about the major changes in terms of gameplay to Dungeon Maker. This segment is going to be a little bit long in the tooth, so feel free to use the timestamps that I have placed in the video description, so that way you can go ahead and jump to a particular topic that interests you. Now, I was really trying to figure out a way to present all of this stuff in an organic fashion, and I think the best method to do so is to just do a quick little run. So I'm going to do a run all the way up to day 40. It shouldn't take that long. I'm not going to min-max. I'm not going to care about my strategy because I'm just want to get to day 40 as quick as possible. You're more than welcome to watch the entire process, but frankly speaking, I would use the timestamps just to jump to particular areas of interest. But if you don't mind coming along with the journey with me to show you all of the new stuff in a natural fashion, feel free to do so. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin a new game. I'm going to go and pick Tanya, my girl, because she got that new pigtail thing that I love so much. Let's start at the monster succession screen. So in the monster succession screen, we have a new cleaner layout, and you'll also notice something new on the upper right hand side called save. Now, save is a new ability in the expansion. You do have to earn it. It is not given to you, and you can go all the way up to 10. Now, why is save implemented, and how is it different from succession? Save is different in that it allows you to save a monster to be chosen for your current run. In other words, you can go ahead and succeed a monster from your saved deck. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel succession, and I'm going to go ahead and resave her. So this gives you more flexibility about the monsters that you bring over from previous runs. However, it does not mean that the monster will come along with you in the current run. It just means that you can select that particular monster. This gives you more flexibility depending on the Dungeon Lord that you choose, as some of them have more synergy with certain monsters than others. So this is very useful to have around. Of course, most of us would bring over our most powerful monsters, which brings me back to Succession. Succession now has also been increased. The original limit, I believe off the top of my head, was 3 or 4. I want to say that. I wish I could look at the deck right now. But in any case, that has also been expanded. You can now take up to 6. I believe I did max it out, which is very useful. So let's go ahead and do that right now and bring over my powerful succeeded units. There we go. And that's going to give you a leg up in future runs because the difficulty, as I said, has been increased quite significantly. But that is the succession and the save monster screen, just in case you're curious and what that is all about. Now, moving on to facility succession, it has been given the same treatment. You can go ahead and save facilities from previous runs, but you can also succeed them. And this will allow you greater strategic flexibility depending on the Dungeon Lord that you play, because I know for sure that if I'm playing Emma, for example, versus Mariel, my strategy and how I approach the dungeon is completely different, right? Those two girls, I think, are night and day in terms of strategy. At least I feel so. So having the ability to save way more, having the ability to save way more facilities, that my brain tripped up because the words rhyme, is a very welcome addition to the new version. So that is that screen. And you can save up to 10 of them, which is quite impressive. Now, this screen will bring you to the difficulty selector. In version 10062 and older, you can only go up to this level. Okay, this was the hardest one you can choose. This is as hard as you got. Everyone was pretty much thinking that they were a badass. Okay, so the developer said, you know what? I'm tired of all these people posting pictures on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what social media of choice, of them beating the game. Oh, too easy. Easy game, easy life, all that stuff. So they added 10 more difficulty levels to Dungeon Maker. And these difficulty levels are pretty brutal, especially at the bottom. Look at 8, 9, and 10 specifically. An additional dungeon entrance is created. You will not be able to require relics from elite battles. And then finally, the beneficial effects of monsters ran out quicker, and the debuffs on heroes are lifted quicker as well, which all is pretty nasty. 8 and 9 specifically bring me with dread, because it means that we will have to re-look at the game in a different way. The strategies that we made to beat hard 10 probably are not going to work in trial 10. Okay, so I'm already letting the wheels in my head move about, thinking about new ways to approach the game. And we'll see when we get there, okay? I really need to unlock difficulty level 8 and 9, especially 9, I would say, to finally make a guide, or a new guide for day 500 on trial 10, okay? So that's going to be a challenge. But anyway, that's not here or there. That's the new difficulty. What I also will say is that the developer did listen to people complain about the amount of experience gain. Now, going back to hard 10, Rebirth experience was capped at 400 experience points, which means that it was 4 times the amount you got if you just played the game on common, which is 0. Okay. Now, if you go up to Trial 1, you get a significant boost, even just approaching the new difficulty, 200 extra experience. And if I go on for there, it keeps increasing ever so larger. So much, in fact, that at Trial 4, I'm already up to 1,040 experience versus 400 experience from hard 10. Okay, so if you were really in the grind and you felt things were taking too long, the developer listens. You just have to play the harder difficulty levels in order to challenge yourself and get more of a reward. Okay, so put on your big boy pants. It's time to get busy. It's time to play the game at a harder difficulty level and get those experience points. All right, so here are the monsters that I brought over, as well as my 2 facilities, I should say. Let's go ahead and install them. Now, I'm going to go over this room really quickly. Let's go ahead and talk about the bodyguard changes. So, Dark Lord's Guardian, off the top of my head, was the ability to bring bodyguard units into your Dungeon Lord's room. In the previous version, it was maxed out at 3. In the new version, it is now up to 5, which is a great boon because the difficulty in the game does ramp up quite a bit. You're going to need more bodyguards. So you can put 5 in a room now. No longer 3 is the maximum. But of course, as with all things in this game, it is an unlockable ability. You have to unlock it. It is not given to you. So just as you had to unlock the original 3, you have to unlock the extra 2. Okay, so let me go ahead and dump my bodyguards in here. Yeah, there we go. She does not have Mystic 1. Get you guys out. And on the upper right hand corner, there is a little winged sword icon. If you click on it, this will show you the current difficulty you are playing on. Okay, so why this was put here was actually for this right here, the trial cards, but I'll go and talk about those in a second. Sometimes people would do a run and they have no idea what the difficulty level is. Why this might be a problem is we get sleepy. We play the game at night. We play the game while we're on the subway or we're on a bus or etc. Stuff like that. And things happen. You know, you kind of lose track of things. Maybe you started a new game and you forgot what difficulty you're playing. You're like, oh wait, did I choose hard or am I on easy or something of that nature? And you don't know. So that little icon is useful in that it will remind you what difficulty level you're playing on, how much experience you're getting, what the current penalties are of your current difficulty run, and more importantly, this thing right here. If you click on it, it says trial, and this will show you all of the negative debuffs you currently have in your run. I'll go ahead and talk more about this screen when we get a trial card, but this is pretty nasty stuff. So not only has the difficulty increased in this regard, meaning the overall run itself, but you will get additional debuffs if you're playing on a trial difficulty. Okay, it gets pretty nasty pretty quick. So let's go ahead and start a battle, and I'm going to freeze it because I want to talk about some UI changes. So on the bottom left hand corner, you notice they have cleaned up the mana. Before it was in blue orbs, so if you had 10 orbs, it would show 10 across the screen. If you had 20 orbs, it would show an additional 10 stack on top of the first stack that you start off with, and it kept going on and on and on. Now they've decided to make it a counter, which cleans up things a lot. It makes it less cluttered, which moves on to this bar right here. This is the Dungeon Lord status bar. It is not the status bar for your dungeon, and it is not the status bar for your monsters. What it is it is a status bar for your Dungeon Lord alone and all of the buffs and debuffs she currently has on her. Okay, so do not confuse this bar with what's going on with the rest of your dungeon. It doesn't pertain to that. It's too much information to keep track of if that were true. Okay, this is strictly for your Dungeon Lord only. And I just want to say that is a cool pause frame of Tanya using her hair to smack an enemy. That's kind of neat. Now on this side right here, the speed counter for the game originally included pause, which is 0 speed, half speed, normal speed, double speed, and now triple speed. Okay, triple speed is a new unlock. You can go ahead and get it in the new Abyss deck. It will speed up your runs significantly, although I personally feel that there should be an X4 mode if possible. Okay, almost like auto resolve. We're almost getting to that point. But X3 is a very welcome addition. It will speed up your runs quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I think it is the most important thing that you can get from the new deck, period. Okay, if you're trying to unlock things, cross your fingers and pray that you get the X3 unlock, because it makes your runs that much faster. And yeah, that is that. Okay, auto scale was actually from the original one, the original deck, but just in case you haven't seen it, that's what it looks like. You can turn it off and on of your choosing, and it will recast a single power of your choosing. And I always leave it on Tanya's 4-star because it is that good. So from this point forward, I am only going to leave it on 3x speed, okay, until we get something of interest, okay, to speed things along. And like I said, this isn't a really me playing a actual game. I'm just using this to show you guys all of the changes, okay. So if my decision making seems a little bit suspect, don't blame me. It's early in the morning. I'm doing this right out of bed, and like I said, I'm just trying to get to day 40 to explain all of the new stuff. So feel free to skip ahead if you want to go ahead and do so until I get to my next point. And let's kind of hope that I get a trial card along the way here. Now, there's one thing I will say. I would definitely encourage the developers, if you have a chance to tweet at them or whatever social media they use. I think they are Korean after all, so they might be using a different social media platform. Let them know that you'd be very interested in some new battle music for Dungeon Maker, or some new tracks, a playlist of sorts of just music, because this single track that's going on in the background right now, I mean, it's cute, but it gets old really, really fast. I would love to have new music for the game, because at this point in time, I think we're all pretty tired of listening to this very same track. As a matter of fact, I know most of you guys out there probably listen to a different soundtrack while you're playing this game, while you're grinding. Now, I'm also really hoping to get the shovel, which is a new ability unlock for the expansion pack, and the reason being is, not the shovel, I should say the trowel, or whatever that little thing is. But anyway, because the dungeon can now be expanded quite a bit from previously, which is really nice. Okay, so in this screen, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of new things. You'll notice on the right-hand side, room exchange has been put into the game. And this is also a unlock. You have to unlock it. It is not given to you. It's not automatic. And this will allow you to swap rooms in your dungeon. So let's go and show you what that looks like. If I click on that card, you're going to see a little interface that shows you your first tile selected and your second tile selected. So where you place tiles now isn't necessarily as important as it was in the previous version. You can always change them as long as you hit a dungeon fate card. So for example, I want the trap, for whatever reason, to be moved back a tile. I can go ahead and select this battle room, and then I'll go ahead and swap them, and then the trap will be placed where this battle room is, and that battle room will be placed where the trap is. So pretty self-explanatory stuff. It's very useful for facilities, so now you don't have to worry about where you place your facilities anymore. It's flexible, and it also will help you strategize in a different way, because like I said, in trial difficulty 8, since additional entrance is going to be created, I think it's going to be very important to kind of change rooms on the fly, put battle rooms and traps where you need them as your run progresses. So let's go back to this screen and talk about the upgrade interface. Now, the upgrade interface has also been given an overhaul, and this is a very nice change. In the previous version, when you selected upgrade, it would give you a selection of rooms to upgrade, and you kind of had to hope you chose the right room to upgrade, because, for example, let's say you had 4 ice traps and you're playing Mario, right? You don't know which ice trap is near the entrance. You could have an ice trap that's kind of more back in your dungeon. So with this new upgrade interface, you can actually choose which one on the dungeon you want to upgrade, and this is very, very useful. It will allow more strategic planning. It's a welcome upgrade from the developers, a very smart one, I have to say. So good job on that. All right, so that is the new dungeon fate card interface stuff. So let's go back onto our grind here. Now my goal is to go ahead and hit up a new card, which I lost my train of thought for a moment there. Sorry. What was it called? Trial card. I just had a brain fart. I literally went brain dead for like 10 seconds. I don't know why. It's early in the morning, like I said. I apologize. It's like I'm in my mind right now. I'm thinking of 100 things. I'm also recording at the same time. So, like I said, my decision making, you're gonna have to forgive me. It's not the best right now. There it is. There's the trial cards. It's exactly what I want to hit. All right, so let's head on over to that trial card. If I had an altar, this would be nice. I don't care. All right. So now what's placed in the dungeon layout, or the tabletop layout, I should say, are these new trial cards. Okay, so these are added automatically. You don't have to unlock these. These are actually given to you as a gift. And I believe, because I haven't tested it out yet on the easier difficulties, but I believe these cards only show up on trial difficulties. So if you're playing a trial difficulty, then I believe these cards start showing up. If you're playing hard 10 or easier, I don't think these show up. I could be wrong about that though. I could be absolutely wrong. I don't know, because I have not played an easier difficulty ever since the new ones were released. But let's go ahead and click on one and show you what they're all about. So when you click on a trial card, you are forced to take a debuff. Okay? And this is a permanent debuff. When I first saw these things, I thought that we were going to go into a single battle with these modifiers, but the reality of the situation is that it is much more sinister than that. So when you click on a trial card, you, for the rest of your entire run, will suffer this particular debuff of your choosing. Okay, so for example, the first one says monster plus shock. All monsters get shock as much as 50% of maximum life at the beginning of battle. A pretty nasty debuff. Or you're going to get a buff to hero. So this one says hero plus acceleration. All heroes entering the dungeon get 5 acceleration. Also a pretty nasty buff toward heroes. Okay. The trial bonus score on the bottom is a multiplier of sorts. Do not be fooled by it, because if you do a run where you only have one trial card, it's just going to say like trial bonus score 50 or something of that nature. It is a multiplier. So the more trial cards you have and the longer you go in your run, your experience received is going to jump up significantly. And I mean a lot. It adds a ton of experience to your earned experience when you withdraw from the dungeon or you happen to die. That being said, these buffs can end your run very, very quickly. Or I should say these debuffs can end your run very quickly. So it's up to your discretion what to use. But yeah, it's pretty nasty stuff. So you can imagine that having a lot of these trial cards during a day 500 run is going to be pretty disgusting. So that's all I'm going to say. All right, it really has increased the difficulty for this game. So I think I've talked about everything I need to. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get to day 40, or I'm sorry, day 37, which is the last thing I want to point out, and then I'll go ahead and close out the video. Okay, guys? So through the magic of editing, I'm just going to go ahead and pause it right here, and then we'll fade back into day 37. So see you guys then. All right, guys, this is going to be the final portion of this video talking about the changes in the latest update. We are going to talk about the mandatory trial cards every 38th day. Now, you see in front of me right now, the 40th day is going to be the boss battle. The 39th day is going to be a dungeon card. The 38th day that I'm about to approach, once I click on that card, is a forced trial pick. So I am going to assume that this is only true for trial difficulty and not easier. Just as a reminder, if you are on any trial difficulty, I believe that every 38th day is going to be an additional forced buff to heroes or debuff to your monsters. Okay, on easier difficulties, basically hard 10 and before that, I'm not sure this is in place because I haven't played those difficulties ever since the new content was released. Okay, but I just want to mention that because you're forced to choose one of these every 38th day, that is significantly troublesome to your long-term prospects of doing a day 500 run. And if you don't know, day 500 is one of the new achievements for endgame. So trial level 10, day 500. I think it survived 500 days at trial 10. That is our new goal as quote-unquote advanced players. So for all of you out there that felt this game was too easy, you beat the game already, supposedly, and you were just kind of sitting back wondering what to do next, there is a huge mountain for us to climb in that regard. Okay, so like I said, one of the changes in trial difficulty anyway is the forced choosing of a trial card every 38th day in your run. So if my math is correct, by day 400 you should have 10 trial cards minimum, and by day 480 you're going to have 12 trial cards. That should work out. So if you're going to do a day 500 run, you have to factor in not only that monsters will be coming in from a different entrance, not only will you not be able to get relics, not only will your buffs to your monsters be shorter, as well as the debuff on heroes be shorter, but then you have to deal with 12 very significant debuffs to your overall run in general in the form of these trial cards. It's going to be a long hill to climb. Okay, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. Let's go ahead and withdraw from this to go and close out the video. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to talk about one last important part here. Now, if you watch this video, I covered as much as I could with the new content. However, you have to click on the Abyss Shop, and you have to click on the Awakening Pack, the magnifying glass specifically, to see all of the finer details about the stuff that was added to the game. Okay, I cannot go over every new unit, every new room. Obviously, it's going to take too much time. But if you are curious, that option is always there. Once again, click on that magnifying glass. Go ahead and look through all the stuff that was added to the game. And then that way you can go ahead and see literally what was added to Dungeon Maker in the latest version. All right. A shout out to Nyan Pass over at TouchArcade. He is a murderer over there by giving us so much new information regarding the developers' thoughts as well as what they are working on. So feel free to give him some love. Feel free to visit those forum pages for intelligent discussion about this game, because there's a lot of useful folks over there doing their thing just as much as I'm doing my thing over here. Personal shout out to myself. Feel free to visit my website, boxinacorner.net, if you haven't done so already. I try to keep it updated with what I am up to, as well as other games that I am playing. A future Dungeon Maker video at this time is going to be a little bit off in the distance, because I think I've made enough content for this game for the time being. I'm very tired. It's not that I'm tired of Dungeon Maker, but it's just that doing these videos is very taxing and it does take a lot of time for me to do that. Okay, and I think this content update is really all I need to talk about. There shouldn't be anything else to talk about in the foreseeable future other than the teaser for the new dungeon lord that we're getting. Okay, she looks like some type of sun goddess from what I can see from the preview picture that Nyan Pass posted over at TouchArcade forums. Okay, so go ahead and check that out if you have the time, and check my website out if you have the time. And that is that. So I am going to go ahead and sign off for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you happen to like it, feel free to hit that thumbs up. If you didn't like it, that's all good. Thanks for stopping by anyway. And I hope you found some information you can take away from this video. I will see you guys for the dungeon, or I should say day 500 trial 10 difficulty video. That is going to be a long time off. Okay, so don't hold your breath. It is going to take me a while to get there. It's going to take me a while to figure out a strategy, I think, that most players should be able to develop by then. I don't know. It's going to be a work in the making. So we'll see when we cross that road. But thanks for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves. Good morning, afternoon, and night, wherever you happen to be. I'll see you later.